This is a terrible view. Let's see. When's the last time I did a live? I'm sure no one is on here and can hear me yet anyway. So we're going to take some deep breaths. Let's see. Maybe I can put this up here. It's a little better. We'll see if that's better. So it has been a day. We're going to take a few deep breaths and relax. I don't like this view either. This is the fun of live. So again, I haven't done this in a bit. So the reason I wanted to do a live stream is because I have been thinking lately about doing something a little bit more informal with you guys. But I know a lot of people don't like that on my regular ASMR channel. So I thought now, especially because live is separated, I can do something on here in the live, and the people who are not interested don't have to watch. Hello. So again, I haven't done this in ages, so there probably will not be very many people on here, but I thought we would just do a little book chat. So I'm kind of thinking this as my live latest obsessions, because I periodically get really interested in certain things and dive deep into them. Like when I was doing all the tea videos, I'm still very into tea, but I know a lot of people are not that interested in that content. So I kind of moved it over to another channel, but I really want to keep everything here if I can. So I like the option of live for some of these kind of latest obsession issues, so that I can talk about them here, and those who are interested can pop in, and those who can't can stay on my regular ASMR channel. So I am drinking tea today. I am drinking a hojicha. This is a little late in the day for me to be having caffeine, but I am having caffeine because it's been a morning. So I was getting ready to do a live, and my husband went out to head out, which is kind of what I was waiting for, so that the house would be quiet, and he came right back in because the car wouldn't start. So we just spent some time trying to deal with that. Because it's a Saturday, we actually can't deal with that. So we're not dealing with that today. And we will figure that out on Monday, I guess, because the mechanic we want to go to is not open today. So yeah, it's been a stressful morning, so I need a little bit of tea. So I'm going to grab some tea. And if I do these more often, again, I'm kind of hoping I'll do these again. The lives are fun. I used to really like doing the lives. I just didn't really have the time. So I have a little bit more time freed up lately. And I'm hoping I can figure out a system where I can do the lives and carve out that little bit of time. And I'll find better ways to do it. I'll probably do it upstairs at my desk most of the time. I didn't have that option today because it's Saturday, so my son is home. And right before I started, I got my Book of the Month Club. So I wanted to talk books today. That's why I put up my books for last month. But I will also do this unboxing since it just came in. I joined Book of the Month 2 months ago, and you get a book right away. So this is my third book. Ooh, this is beautiful. So I got, let's see if it'll focus, Light Breakers. And this one looked really interesting. It's a sci-fi, I believe. Maya, an artist, and Noah, a quantum physicist, share an insatiable curiosity about the world, but their happy marriage has a shadow over it. Serena, the child Noah had with his first wife, who died before she turned 4. Well, that sounds exciting. It sounds like a bit of a downer, but that's okay. I don't mind downer books. When Noah is invited by the Janus Project to help unravel the secrets of time travel, he jumps at the opportunity. Oh, yes, that's right. So this is the time travel book by Aja Gabel. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but look at how beautiful this is without the dust jacket. I loved the yellow and the pink. It's so pretty. They do put the little book of the month right there. So here's the reason I joined Book of the Month. I was looking for a book club, an online book club. That's great. There aren't a lot. I was having a really hard time finding good online book clubs, which seems ridiculous, but my guess is the more you kind of get into booktube and things like that, there are options out there, but I really wanted one where I could consistently read. So Book of the Month, and I don't think she works for Book of the Month, but there's a woman who does the Book of the Month buddy read. And every week they pick a different book. They tend to pick like 2 or 3 from Book of the Month. And then they pick like one from Aardvark, which is another monthly book club. So even if I don't always get the Book of the Month, that is the read along for that week, I will tend to get it on Spotify in audio so I can follow along, unless it's a book I'm just not interested in at all. They just did another horror, The Haunting at Payne's Hollow, maybe. And I just wasn't up to another horror. I'm not a big horror reader. I read The Reformatory with that buddy read group, and I really, that was rough. It was rough. The topic was rough. It was a really good read, but it was really tough. The horror didn't really bother me that much. It was just the topic itself. Yeah, I also, hi. I don't know what to call. Let me know if you want me to call you something other than what your name is on here. But yeah, horror's not my bag. And actually, recently, I think the month before, I read The Library at Mount Char, which was highly recommended from the Currently Reading podcast, which I love. It was so gory. There were like horrible deaths in every chapter. I was trying to branch out because it was so highly recommended. But yeah, and there's some, like there was another one that was on this same Book of the Month buddy read Facebook group. It's very active too. So like when she puts out something every day with a certain section that you read, and people respond. Again, I found some decent Discord ones, but like nobody responds. Nobody puts anything up. So I'm like, well, what's the point of that? I want to read what other people write, and I want to read what other people think. So, okay, I will call you Jen. So I read I read Play Nice with them, and that I loved. And the horror it was like supernatural rather than horror. It had like one really gross scene. So that's not my thing. I really like cozy. And again, that's one of the reasons why I thought this is something I could do on my channel, because my channel is cozy. Oh, see, they also send you a bookmark. And I got a pink one because this is my 3rd month. I am now a friend on Book of the Month. And that means that I get $5 on every add-on book. They'll ship up to 5 books every month, and I can choose from a number of favorites in monthly selections. So I get a lot more options after this month now that I've done 3 months. And I wanted to spend today talking about my books from last month. What kind of tea? It's a hojicha. I showed it at the beginning, but I don't know if you were on yet. So we have a Tokyo market nearby, and they have lots of beautiful loose leaf teas for very inexpensive. So this is Yamamoto Yama. They make a nice matcha too, but I like their hojicha. It's delicious. Um, I like a toasty hojicha. So I wanted to talk about my books for last month. I read about, I think, 18, 17, 18 books. I also DNF'd. I did not finish, I think, 2 or 3, which I probably won't talk about because I probably won't even remember what they were. I actually just DNF'd Frozen River, which was also recommended to me by Currently Reading. And I was listening to it on audio, and I just it wasn't grabbing me. It was well written, but it was about um, at least the part I was in was about the trial of a rape. I worked in a rape crisis center for a while when I was first out of college. Um, it's just not entertaining for me. Like it's too painful. Like I don't have my head in the sand. Like obviously I worked in a rape crisis center. Um, but I don't really want to read about it for fun after work. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a therapist. So I'm talking to people about really difficult things all the time. Again, I'm not like in denial and everything has to be lovely all the time. But like, I don't watch really like suspenseful or dark TV. Like, I don't, when I'm doing stuff for entertainment, I want it to be well written and have some substance, but um, be light. I just want it. I want fun. It's a real sweet spot because actually there's a lot of stuff that's like too slow. I actually just finished. It's probably on here too. Um, I just finished The Enchanted Greenhouse by Stacy. Let's see, Savinsky, is that her name? Um, she wrote Spellbound. I enjoyed Spellbound. A lot of people loved Spellbound. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very fun. I remember it fondly, but I think I also found it kind of slow. I found the Enchanted Greenhouse pretty slow. So I gave it a 3.5. It was good. I mean, it was light, it was nice, it was cute. I loved being in that world. I wanted a little bit more like I wanted the cozy a little bit more. I wanted like her decorating the house and setting up the house, which she ended up not doing. She got much more focused on another part of the story. I wanted kind of that, and I didn't get that. So the story itself moved kind of slow. Um, so I assume when you say you agree, Jen, that you mean like you like the cozy for entertainment too. So I wanted to go through the books that I read, and I use Storygraph for keeping track of my books because otherwise I cannot remember what I read by at all. So I was doing a bewitching book challenge that was on Storygraph this month. So a lot of these fit in various prompts that were for that bewitching uh, challenge. I used to use Goodreads. I like Storygraph a lot better. It feels much more simplified. I mean, Goodreads, like you have to spend a lot of time to find what you want. I used to join a lot of groups. I mean, Goodreads is a great way, and I watch a lot of booktubers, and most of them use Goodreads, and they put reviews on there. I just like Storygraph better. And if you saw like my thumbnail at the beginning, Storygraph will create that little wrap up of your month. And I love that. Love that, love that, love that. So that's where I keep track of things so that I can remember what I read. So there was a Discord called The Lighthouse that I started looking into when I was first trying to find online book clubs. And they recommended one called Murder at the Halloween Wedding. So that was the second of series. And the first one was Chaos at the Lazy Bones Bookshop. So I read that one. That was like a 3.75, very cute, very fun for Halloween. And I actually gave the Mayhem at the Halloween Wedding uh, a 4.25. So I think as I got more invested in the characters, I liked it more. It's this town, I think it's supposed to be, yeah, it's like north of Portland in theory. And they've really just bought into the Halloween theme, and all of the stores are named something Halloweeny, and they have a big Halloween festival. And around Halloween time, this was just a great seasonal read. Um, yeah, I never got Jen is saying that they like the social aspect of Goodreads. I never got enough involved to do the social aspect. Like a lot of my friends don't use Goodreads. And I just never really made friends through there. I'm not finding that I get much of the social on Storygraph either. Maybe I'm just not on them enough. Um, and I don't do like a lot of social media. Like I'm not seeking that out. I'm actually trying to avoid a lot of the social media stuff. Um, so so I read those two. Those were fun. Um, Jen, let me know what you do like to read, like if you have a favorite. I love talking books. Again, I'm glad to be doing this on live because those of you that aren't interested in tea or books or just whatever nonsense is going on in my life right now, then don't watch. um, Stick with my ASMR videos. But I've been watching a lot of reading sprints where you have all these booktubers and they'll like set 50-minute timers and everybody reads, but then they chat in between, and that feels really social. I started with Aurelium Academy. Do you know Aurelium Academy, Jen? Um, it's a booktuber. Her channel is Book Roast, and she has set up this whole like school where you create a character, you pick a like career path, and you're given different reading prompts for, I think she does one in April and one in September. Yep. And you're trying to like pass these classes to move towards graduating from this school. She also does a week in December that she calls Light Fall. And it had all these great prompts and it was so fun. And she would do these live videos where you could type in and kind of, just like this, but she has 1 million followers. She has a ton of followers. So it was very interactive. She would like spin a wheel and you would win points because she also has, it's really, when I first started, I was like, why is there this store of stuff of like fake stuff you can buy with points, but you like buy them for your character and you get points from doing the semesters. It's really, really cute. And at first I was like, who does that? Who cares? But I found myself like by the end buying stuff with my points. And you can also use your points to like start reading early in the month or can keep a book going that you haven't finished, but still count it towards your semester. So I started doing her sprints, love them. So now I'm finding a bunch of other booktubers that do sprints. Meg with Books, I joined her Patreon, and she does sprints. And you just kind of get to know these booktubers more. And I like that. So again, people who want that can come on here and do that. And people who don't, that's okay. I might put some of this on my other channel, but I don't think so. Again, I think if it's not your bag, don't go to the live. Stick with my other content. So, okay. I listened to Rainfall Market. The Rainfall Market. That was a weird one. That was a Japanese fantasy. The concept was really interesting where you get like you write an essay about how terrible your life is, and you get an invitation to the rainfall market where you can go and kind of like change your future and like change your path. Um, Really interesting. I listened to it. I probably shouldn't have. There were too many names, um, and there were too many concepts because it was a fantasy. I think I would have been much better off reading it. And I may look for more books by this author and read them. So I listened to The Memory Collectors. That was another book of the month buddy read. Um, I really liked that one too. That was like a time travel thing where you can go back in time to try to relive like a day. Like, I think you only had an hour or something, and you can go back in time, and it's like a device they've created that allows you to do this. But these four people who are all interconnected end up going back to the same day when all their lives kind of change together, and they're not pulled out after an hour. So they actually learn a lot about what really happened on that day. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I read it on, I'm glad I listened to it. I think I gave it, what, a 4.25 also. It was fun as a buddy read. It was fun to kind of talk about, like, what do you think is happening? What, like, do we think this is a malfunction? Do you think somebody planned this? Like, that was fun. Then I read The Reformatory. I gave it a 3.75. Again, very, very well written. It was about the South, I think in the early 60s, Black family, um, issues about racism. It was rough. And she said she actually added in the like supernatural aspect to kind of soften it. Personally, I prefer to read nonfiction. If I'm going to read something that difficult and painful, it's really hard to get through. It was also a really long book. People loved it, but people like gave it 5 stars. So I almost DNF'd it in the beginning. I loved Midnight Library, Jen. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Um, so that was on. I'll show you later. I got a mug with my top 15 books of the year. Like, you can send into Etsy. I was gonna bring it today, but it's in the dishwasher. You can send in your 15 books, and they will put the spines on a mug or a poster or a bookmark. Or so I got the mug, and Midnight Library's on there because I loved it. Yes, so it had that kind of Midnight Library, but it was, if you've read any Japanese fantasy, just much weirder. Much, much weirder. Kind of had that Spirited Away sort of vibe. So if you like that, it was fun. So back to The Reformatory, it was, I would rather read a nonfiction if I'm going to read something that painful. Was going to DNF it because it was really hard. But then people loved it so much, I continued with it. Plus, it was one of these buddy reads. I'm glad I got through it. But again, 2020 hindsight, I should have DNF'd it. I would rather read things like Just Mercy and some of these other nonfictions that are on similar topics. Again, if it's going to be that painful, I would rather just have it based in fact, not in story. Not always. I mean, I read, if you haven't read Kate and Frida is great, and it talks about the Balkan War, I think. And it was tough. Jen, you and I may be like book twins. We should be in contact, because I'm always looking. So the one thing I did like about Discord is I was able to set up a couple of buddy reads. So I would go on to these different Discord channels and be like, here's my to be read for the month. Does anybody want to read one of these with me? And I got somebody to read The Secrets of Alchemy with me. It was lovely. It was so good. I loved it, loved it, loved it. What did I give it? I gave it a 4.5. It was really fun. I just didn't want to put it down. And when I picked it up, I did not realize that it was written by the same person who wrote Caraval, which I really liked. So that was I was told by my buddy reader that it was the same person. I was like, oh, I loved that book. So I'm not surprised. I like Secrets of Alchemy. And apparently there's going to be a sequel, if not a trilogy. Loved it. So jumped ahead to that. Secrets of Alchemy. I might as well talk about that one a little bit. It's about, it's a magical realism. So it takes place in the real world, but there's magic, which you find out down the road. It's about a woman who takes this mythology class, and it's about like urban myths that involve magic, and she starts kind of finding out their truth, sort of. It was great, and it was great, another great one to buddy read, because I would be like, I think he's going to turn out bad, and they'll be like, no, I don't want them to turn out bad. So yeah, I remember at one point being like, if he turns out to be a terrible person, I'm gonna be so mad. And then of course he turned it out to be a terrible person. So that was, these buddy reads are a lot of fun. Again, I don't have a lot of really close friends that are readers. My mom's a reader, but we have a very particular Venn diagram of books we like. And my mom's a super fast reader. I'm a really slow reader. Was Secrets of Alchemy of Secrets my favorite? Sorry, it's the reverse. The Alchemy of Secrets was it my favorite? No, The Phoenix Keeper was my favorite book of the month. It's just a book I want to hug. I loved it. I loved it. It was like a kind of difficult character who had a little romance in it, and it was just a really exciting story, and it was, yeah, so it's about a magical zoo where they keep all of these endangered magical animals, and it's about the zookeeper who cares for a lot of the birds, and specifically the phoenix. One of the phoenixes. There's different kinds of phoenix. So that was oh, it was just lovely. It was just, I wanted to live in that world. I loved it. I loved it. So Jen, if you loved Midnight Light, I don't know, if you're a fantasy girl, if you're like a high, like this is, it kind of, it's not magical realism. It's not in our world at all. It's its own world. So if you like high fantasy like that, again, it's not a whole bunch of world building because it's just a zoo. Like they mentioned that there are different like continents on this world, but they don't really go too much into it. And other, like, it's just humans and then these magical animals. Loved it. Just, yeah, can't say enough about the Phoenix Keeper. So another one that I just finished was The Yellow Envelope, because I needed a nonfiction, and I don't read a ton of nonfiction, and it's a travel memoir. So I needed it to fill a prompt for a nonfiction, because I tried to read and then listen to Braiding Sweetgrass. It's gotten wonderful reviews. I want to read Native American own voices. I really wanted to love it. And I read about a third of it, and I really did enjoy it. But it was getting to be repetitive, and I felt like I had kind of gotten enough out of the first third, so I did DNF it. But I needed another nonfiction, so I needed something that was like one of the oldest on my to be read. So that was Yellow Envelope. It was actually the oldest on my Libby account that I hadn't read. And luckily, because it was old, I was able to get it right away. So I got that. I read that on my Kindle. Loved that. Then for another prompt, I needed something. I don't even remember why. Oh, and I gave The Yellow Envelope 4.25. Yes. So I really enjoyed Yellow Envelope. I am also a married woman of a certain age. So I'm in my 50s. And it talks a lot about marriage and tough times in marriages. It's not like a super downer. Like don't think this is like um but it made me like go out and kiss my husband on the head a few times. Like I'm glad that we are happy and things are good. Um and so I don't know your age, Jen, but it was yeah, I found it I found the discussion of marriage really really good. We really maybe book twins, Jen. Um I read The Tea Dragon Society, which is a graphic novel. Very quick read. I think I needed it. I don't know. I needed it for some prompt in one of my, and I was like, let me grab a graphic novel. That'll take me like a half hour to read. And it was super cute. I read it on my phone though, and not the best way to read a graphic novel. I would have liked a bigger screen to see it on. But it was on Hoopla, and Hoopla I only have on my phone. I don't have on my laptop, so I couldn't get it there. Then I read Strange Pictures, which was also a Discord um, like read along. But again, but nobody comment. There was like one other person who commented. So I read that. I did not love it. It was okay. It was a 3.5. It was um I don't want to talk about it too much, but it was these short stories about different people. It eventually all connected, and near the end when it all connected, it got interesting, but it was very slow. Um it was a quick read, luckily. It's a short book. And there's all this talk about it. There were a lot of pictures in it. Um I Again, there's very few people I would recommend it to. Just people who are really interested in puzzles, and it's a mystery. Um, but I do not like kind of short story type things usually. Um, Even if they connect, I don't love them a lot of the time. So yeah, it's like When the Coffee Gets Cold. That's another like Japanese, like these little vignettes, and they tend to all link up. But I find it very jarring when I'm like, I like this character. I'm really interested in this character. Okay, this character's done. And even if we come back to them later, I'm like, I don't want to start over with another character in the next chapter. So that's Strange Pictures. And then I read, oh, it's the second Tainted Cup. Sorry, this one is so small. I can't see it. I gave it a 4.0. It was what was it? Something poison, steeped in poison or something. Wait a minute. I will have to pull this up somewhere else so that I can see. Let me pull it up another way so that I can see it better. Yeah, so Storygraph has this view month wrap up graphics, and it will create these graphics for you of what you read. Is there a way for me to just like see my history? So I listened to this one, and I okay, here we go. I can pull it up this way. I listened to this one, A Drop of Corruption, because I had not heard marvelous things about it. And I thought if I listened to it, listening to something when I can do something else can sometimes get me through books that are a little bit slower. So, A Drop of Corruption, I did like it. I really enjoyed listening to it. I'm glad I chose to listen to it. It's another, like, it's why I listened to The Reformatory, because I needed that little bit of like distance. because I knew how hard the reformatory was going to be. So, A Drop of Corruption, if you know the story of A Tainted Cup, it's like, I don't know, they will compare it to Sherlock Holmes, but I don't know that I really believe that. So, but you find out a little bit more about um, the main character. What's her name? Anne. They call her Annie or something. She's got a much longer name. Um, but she doesn't like to interact with the world. She wears a blindfold most of the time, and then she has her assistant who goes out and like basically does the investigating of these murders and comes back and brings her all the information. He actually has this special ability, which you get like these implants that give you these special abilities, but they also limit your life. So when he has tubes that he can smell, and then he gets perfect recall when he smells that smell again. And I can't remember either of their name. Oh, Din, I think, is his name. And this one was not as good as A Tainted Cup. I think partially because I liked the world building in A Tainted Cup. And these are very political in this high fantasy world. So you're in very high fantasy, completely different world. The politics are very complicated. And both of these stories are very political based on this world. And I don't love that as much in a mystery, but it's, I will read, if a third comes out, I will read it because I like this world. And the more I get involved in the world, the more interested I am in the politics. So that is one of the other things that I listen to. I'm really glad I listened to it because I've been wanting to for a while. So let's see what else I have here. I listened to A Beautiful Mystery, which is number 8, I think, in the Louise Penny Three Pines books. I've gotten my dad hooked on them. They're so good. They're so good. I love them. They, again, this is another recommendation from the Currently Reading podcast. They also do a deep dive into, there's now 21 of these. I think the 21st just came out. They do a deep dive into, I think, like the first 10, maybe not that many yet. So after I read, actually, I'm listening to all of these this time, but then I've bought them all. So I'm going to actually go back and read them. But I listened to this one. I did buy the book, but I listened to this one, and I enjoyed it. Again, I'm glad I listened to it. It is considered one of the slowest of these. There's a lot of psychology in them. So Louise Penny will often talk about how she talks about human psychology, and she uses murder mysteries as like a way to talk about human psychology. I think that's one of the reasons why I love them so much, is that's very, very interesting to me. That's kind of what draws me in from these. This one did not take place in Three Pines, and we think that's so she could get away from the cozy mystery, like village mystery label. So it takes place in a monastery, in a kind of closed off monastery, which I enjoyed. I liked it. It was very interesting to me. But again, another one I'm glad I listened to, although I will want to read it as well, because there are a lot of names of the different monks, and you don't get to know them well enough to always be able to, like, I wasn't always able to keep track of the names. So I needed a classic, and I tried to read Murder at the Vicarage by Agatha Christie, because a lot of my booktube like people love Agatha Christie. I never liked Agatha Christie. I like watching the TV shows, the old like BBCs. I really like that. But I never liked reading them. There was a phase when like all of the kids in like, I think my junior high were reading Agatha Christie. I never liked them. I read and then there were none. And I remember kind of being meh about, and then there were none. I was halfway through this one. I was like, I don't want to read this book. Why am I like, I just don't want to. So I'm not going to. And so I picked up on Hoopla. They had, what is it called? A Diary of a Provincial Lady. And it kind of, it reminded me, I'm trying to remember what it reminded me of. I can't remember her name. She was a like 20s feminist, like humor writer. And I'm just drawing a blank on her name. But this was like just kind of light. And I'm glad I listened to it. It was like journals of this, of a lady living out in the countryside. And it was funny and cute. And I'm glad I listened to it. I don't know how riveted I would have been reading it, but it was fun. And um, which books? What does your wife like that you haven't tried? The Louise Pennies? If so, again, my dad loves them. These are not like girl books. My dad is listening to all of them though, and he just loves them. So that was a Diary of Provincial. Oh, Agatha. Yeah, I'm not. I just couldn't. I couldn't. And I'm like, why am I forcing myself to read this book? So I needed another classic. So the Diary of a Provincial Lady was another classic. And then the Enchanted Greenhouse, which I talked about. Oh, the Diary of a Provincial Lady, I actually gave a 4.0. I also gave A Drop of Corruption a 4.0. Enchanted Greenhouse, I gave a 3.5. Again, it was kind of slow. I loved the world. I wish there had been a little bit more of like talking about her kind of setting up her life there, but yeah, it was slow. And then Play Nice, which I've talked about. This is about three sisters with a really complicated relationship with their mother who dies, and she leaves them a house that is inhabited by a demon. I do, because I give a lot of high grades, because I try, if it's going to be less than a 3, to DNF it, to just stop reading it. And I listen to a lot of podcasts and things so that I try not to start books that I don't think I'm going to like. I have a really hard time. I used to have a really hard time stopping books. So I would be really careful not to start a book I didn't think I was going to like. So yeah, so I do. I give high grades. I think my average rating for most months is like a little over a 4. Because again, if I'm feeling meh, if I'm feeling like something's a 2 or a 1, I'm gonna stop reading it. I just don't have enough time. Like I read a lot and I read slow. I'm a slow reader. So I'm not gonna waste my time if I don't think I'm gonna like it. So Play Nice, I gave a 4.25. I've talked about most of the rest of these. Upon a Starlit Tide, that I gave a 3.75. Looking back, it may not have really been a 3.75. It was kind of a retelling of The Little Mermaid, kind of. It was not memorable. Like if I hadn't read it in the last month, I wouldn't be. I also listened to it. I needed it again for another prompt. Uh, it I don't know. Like there was female empowerment, like water magic stuff. um and that was good, but like again, it was not it was entertaining. I will say it was entertaining. I listened to it. It was entertaining. Um Jen, I will say I used to have a lot, like I've gone back and forth on DNFing. Back when I wasn't reading a whole lot, probably in my 20s, I DNF'd A Prayer for Owen Meany, if you have read that. And I had somebody freak out and be like, "You have to finish it. You read that book for the last 100 pages." And so I went back and I finished it, and you read that book for the last 100 pages, and it was wonderful, and I loved it. Now, I don't know if I'd still feel that way about it, but then that put me off of DNFing for a long time. But recently I've been reading so much. If I'm reading 15 to 18 books a month, if I'm not into something, I'm just like, I'm not pushing it. Like when I didn't read that often, I would kind of like pick up a book, and I didn't know if it was just like because I hadn't picked it up in a while that I wasn't really excited about it or what it was. But I would I would just keep reading it to finish it. Now I'm kind of like trying to hone down what I like to read. So uh, every once in a while, I'll try to read like something that's out of my comfort zone. But honestly, I read for fun. So I actually read more things this month that I probably should have DNF'd because I had them on a reading challenge. And so, like, we have one coming up, Immortal Dark. Did I give Immortal Dark a 2.5? Oh my God, I did. I gave it a 2.5, I think. Yeah. So, Immortal Dark was about vampires. Everyone in it was awful. I needed a prompt that had dark in the title. And I also, on my reading challenges, I have dark academia. Because even though I don't love dark books, I tend to like dark academia for some reason. So I've been trying to kind of tick off books from this dark academia list. But this one was off. Like the writing was really, really good. And if you like dark books, it was well written. It was well done. But everybody in it is awful. It's like a school, and every house has these vampires that you partner with. Um, and there's a woman whose sister is missing. She's trying to find out where her sister is. Just, she's awful. Her sister's awful. The vampires are awful. There's a few vampires that I don't mind, but like everybody's kind of awful. And as the book goes on, like everybody gets more and more awful. Like to survive, you have to be awful. I No, it didn't do it for me. That was my lowest. That slowed me down because I didn't want to read it after a while. But luckily, it was well written. While reading that, I think I read Hemlock and Silver, which was a 3.75. I liked it. It was it was like a fantasy retelling, so it had like some Through the Looking Glass vibes, but it also had um it had Sleeping is it Sleeping Beauty? Yeah, it had Sleeping Beauty vibes. It had a lot of different tropes from different fairy tales in this kind of, is it a fantasy world? Kind of, yeah. Um, it was interesting. Yeah, the parts I liked is the lead character was uh, self-taught um, in poisons, and it's kind of, even though it's a fantasy world, it's kind of like Victorian era where all the doctors are men, and she's self-taught in poisons. Um, I'm reading this comment by Jen. So Morgan Housel, The Art of Spending Money, talked about how permission to judiciously DNF helped him branch out in reading. He then makes the correlation to learning where you enjoy splurging with money. Okay, that makes sense. Um, yeah, I'm trying to like, again, this is something I do for fun. These, like, there aren't books I should read anymore. Like sometimes there's like hard nonfiction that I feel is important to read, and I will push myself to read those. But uh, there's not a lot of that in my life anymore. Again, reading is my entertainment. So So those are all of my books for last month. I am currently reading, so I usually have one book I'm reading digitally, one book I'm reading physically, and an audiobook. So my physical book is Nora Roberts' Inheritance from the library. Hi Guy. This is a guilty pleasure. No, I'm not even gonna say that. I love Nora Roberts. I don't love all Nora Roberts. Nora Roberts is fun. I have always liked listening to Nora Roberts. There are certain series that I love. I've heard like she's got a pseudonym where she's got another million books that she's written. This one was another one that was recommended. I'm currently reading. I am liking it, and it's actually pretty big. It's 400 and something pages. Yeah, it's like 420 pages. And I was like, oh, do I want to read something this big? That's a Nora Roberts. That's like, it's not going to be super deep, but I'm already totally into it in the first like 30 pages. So, yep, having fun. It's a fun one. I am reading The Witch Moon Manor. Is that what it's called? The Witching Moon Manor. So this is the second to the first is called, I just totally drew a blank what the first one was called. It's about a tea room. I think that's what, the Crescent Moon Tea Room. It's about 3 sisters. I assume there's going to be 3 books that focuses on each one of the sisters. Really fun. Love it. Just like to be in this world. It's magical realism, but very heavy on the magic. And I like it a lot. And then I was listening to Frozen River, and I was just like, I don't want to. So I am now listening to, I don't have it on here. I am listening to The Magpie Murders, which I got from the library. I'm having to be judicious with I keep taking out so many books that I'm stressed about it. I'm like, why am I stressed about my reading? So, yep, listening to Magpie Murders, I'm liking it a lot so far. And that's kind of what's going on with me. Gotta get this car fixed on Monday. And I will probably be trying to check in a little bit more and talk about the books that I'm reading. If you guys are interested, if nobody cares, that's okay too. It's just kind of fun, and it might take a while for me to get to the point where anybody cares. But this was fun. I probably won't talk too much longer because it's already been almost an hour, even though Guy just joined us. I'll probably drop off and read some of these books and make some lunch. And that is most of what's going on here. I know, Guy, we read very different things. You read really intense classics, which is not what I'm reading. But I'll try to pepper in kind of what's going on in life and some good tea. And I did just get an Owl Crate advent calendar for my son and I, which has a bunch of book stuff. I know it's got some Lord of the Rings stuff, which my son loves. I loved Midnight's Children, Guy. I love almost anything by Salman Rushdie. I really, really do. I even like his kind of YA, like fantasy stuff. I'd have to look up Midnight Children. I know I have it in the living room somewhere. I don't buy a lot of books. I say that, although I did just buy Light Breakers. Book of the month is just fun. And I have bought a couple of collector books recently of some of these top 15 over the past year. So I hope you like Midnight's Children. I'll have to go back and kind of remember because I've read almost every Salman Rushdie, so I don't always remember which is which. But I like his like fairy tale kind of stuff too. They're fun. He's lovely. But I haven't read any in a long time. I wonder if there's anything new that I haven't read. So I'm gonna probably jump off. Hopefully, if I can do this more often, I can actually give more warning. But it's one of the things I was hoping with these lives is I may just jump in and do them when I can, and people can always watch them later if they want to. So, thanks for being here, Jen. Thanks for being here, Guy. And I will be back in touch with you sometime later, maybe even tomorrow if things are quiet. And if I have anything to say about the books I'm reading, I would love to get a bunch of reading done today. So, all right. Bye. Have a great day. Happy day after Halloween. I hope everybody had a nice Halloween. Cheers. Bye.